Hello, folks. Welcome. Well, this was supposed to be broadcast as a Dawn Busters Taste Challenge, but I asked William, I said, hey, you have any of that JT Boots left? He said he did. I said, what about early times? Let's do it. He said, let's do the Taste Challenge. This will be the first time I had anybody joining me for a Taste Challenge. We were supposed to start at the bottom of the hour, but we got caught up talking about scrambling quarterbacks and academic-oriented college football and the struggles they have. So then that's like heroin. You start fooling with it, you don't ever get over it or past it. So we had to get out of it before it kind of overwhelmed us. But that's our sickness, not yours.
Shake the monkey off.
Right. Everybody's got something to hide, except for me and my monkey. But I've got glasses with little tags I tape below with JTB and ET on the bottom. I guess a person could stage this where they cheated and you wouldn't pick it up. But if, in my opinion, if you would be willing to cheat, then you're a crazy person. I'd delete my channel before I start cheating on videos, I gotta say, because there's no purpose in it. It's like, why would you cheat? What difference does it make if you can tell them apart or not? It's fun to do, but it's not important. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, it's like nowadays, everybody gets a trophy. If you don't accomplish nothing, it don't mean anything. That's almost like cheating to me. Of course, I may be old school about that, but
I used to be on a swim team for about close to 10 years, and everybody did not get a trophy. You only got a trophy if you won. Well, you got a ribbon, a ribbon. I got some ribbons in third and second heat, not in first heat. But we all knew who was in first heat. But that business of everybody gets to win, that was not considered back then. No way. The best swimmers went first. The kind of okay ones went second. And then the horrible ones went third. I was usually in the second run. I did do first heat occasionally when somebody was hurt. but I one good thing about swim team, I could beat anybody in the neighborhood that wasn't on swim team. I'd destroy them. So it's all relative.
And if you don't like your lot on the team, the best thing to do is work harder and try to improve.
Right.
It's great motivation.
Yeah, I just didn't have the physical ability.
Yeah. I mean, everybody had, some are just more naturally talented than others.
Well, you see, most of the ones that were on the first heat would win everything. Their parents would send them to AAU camps all the time, even during the school year. So they trained all the time. That's all they did. Because their parents are thinking you're going to swim for LSU or, well, around here, LSU or Tulane, something like that. I mean, there was no intention in my parents. They just wanted me to do swim team. They wanted me to do something, not just be a layabout. And that's why I did baseball first, but that was bad. After 2 years, they switched me to swim team. I kind of wish I'd have stayed in baseball, but anyway, enough of that. But the whole point is, if you lose, right?
Right. You try to get better. And then if you do accomplish something, you're going to feel a heck of a lot better about it.
Right.
You put all that hard work into to improve.
Right. And these taste challenges are, like I said in the past, I don't know if you ever watched any of my beer taste challenges. You may have or may not have. If you haven't, I wouldn't take it bad personally. But I fail a pretty good amount of the time. But I get a good amount correct, and I feel good about it because they're not based on dumb luck. They're based on the taste. Honestly, they're honestly based on the taste. And I think this is an interesting product, this Jethro T boots, because it's the same price as early times if you have a CVS card, which is free. But yet it's aged 4 years, whereas this is aged at least 36 months, meaning
it has to have an age statement.
Yeah, and what I mean is
put 36 months. They don't put the numeral.
Yeah, it says at least 36 months. We could translate meaning and no more than. you can bet your bottom dollar it's not 30 seconds.
Absolutely, not a minute over. But that was a nice bonus when I got home and found out that I kept looking for that age statement. And I said, well, heck, by deduction, this is a 4-year product. So at $8.99 a bottle, I thought that was, you know, a little bit of a bonus. Yeah.
And it's aged at the Buffalo Trace and Barton facilities.
Yeah, Barton 1792, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I went on a tour there. So, I mean, you think about it, $8.99, you're getting a bourbon, meaning it's aged in never before used barrels, at least 4 years. Well, you're at the Jim Beam level, but you're paying $5 less.
And it has an actual history. There was an actual JT Boots. So this is not fabricated.
No.
Now, he was a lawman, entrepreneur, sort of a jack of all trades.
That's right. Sort of like the notorious, I shouldn't say that, but that blended whiskey, T.W. Samuels, he was an actual person, and one of his descendants began the Four Roses bourbon brand. And T.W. Samuels was one of the oldest brands of whiskey of any sort in the United States. I have to do that one day. I have a bottle I bought about a year ago. They got the trademark registered for that whiskey in 1844. Early Times came along 16 years later, 1860. That's nothing to joke about. Let me make sure I got the right thing. Early Times and Jethro T Boots. What about the appearance? I guess it's similar, huh? Just your burnished gold, I guess. I don't know how you set up your blind taste test, but I'm going to mix mine up.
Yeah, I'm pouring it out now. I'm trying to get the same amount, the same level, so I don't notice something about the level being different in it.
Yeah, I did that with the beer taste challenge. I had one that had a lot of foam in it, so I said, "Oh boy."
But I don't think I'll be able to tell the difference between the appearance. I get the level the same on this.
Now, somebody told me there's a whole lot of factors you're not taking into account. I said, yeah, I'm taking them into account, but I can't do anything about them. You try to eliminate as many variables as possible, but you cannot eliminate them all. Even in a laboratory, you're going to have variables you cannot eliminate. But we do our best. You know, they do that in a football game. They make the team switch sides every quarter to eliminate the variable of, say, sun and wind. Well, I got mine well mixed. I couldn't tell you right now which is which without. My hypothesis is that the Jethro T Boots will be a little bit richer and have a little bit more overall flavor, but this I do not know. But that's my presumption. I don't know what you're thinking. So it's a Sazerac versus Brown-Forman showdown.
Okay, I give them a pretty good spin around. I think so. And the level, I believe, is just the same right here.
You got tags to tell them apart?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe appearance looks it looks a copycat to me.
Same thing I noticed.
Okay.
You got any hypotheses before we go into it?
I've had limited experience with both of them.
Same here, yeah.
I'm going to say for me, it's going to be a guess. If I get it right, it's more of a guess than an actual sense of being able to detect any differences. It may once I actually, one after the other, I may be able to tell something, but I'm not confident about that. But I won't spit either one of them out. I know that. I've had both, and they're competent products. So it's just fun see if I can detect the difference between the two.
And a long way from rot gut.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not going to lose my eyesight or have some serious medical conditions where the EMTs will be here in 15 minutes. So I'm confident I will survive this taste challenge. It'll be only a taste challenge, not a medical challenge.
Well, I'm smelling the first one.
Okay, here's the. I'll make sure.
Of course, we could be both smelling two different ones on the first go, right? So
That's true. Yeah.
I'm just getting your. We've talked about this endlessly about the Tax and Trade Bureau, but I don't think too many people that watch us ever really go research that. But we're not making it up, folks. They tell you how a whiskey is supposed to smell. That's a legal guideline, in fact, the smell and the aroma. I mean, the smell and the taste. And in fact, as hard as it is to believe, the United States government even has regulations on how to make a mixed drink. Legal definition on how an old-fashioned is supposed to be constructed. How that would be enforced, I can't tell you, but it exists.
And they have a whole section on the ice beers in the beer category.
Yeah, and that's no joke.
Now, what's allowable to be considered an ice beer?
Now, some people will make the contention, oh, well, this is all a bunch of lies. That stuff's not aged 4 years. The company's just lying to you and putting that on the label. I don't believe that. Either they're a very stupid company or they have courage they don't need to have, because they better not get caught. Yeah, these regulations are stringent. I'm getting down into it, and well, and by the way, I'm not going to do any whiskey or any other hard liquor tomorrow. I know how to.
This one is more oaky.
Yeah, I know how to quote. I know how to quote these things.
More of a barrel influence in this one.
Think so, huh?
I think so. That's more so than the actual flavor aroma. I seem to pick up more of the wood in this one.
Yeah, the one on my right, my second choice, I'm picking up more wood as well. More wood, more vanilla, more whiskey, so to speak. You ready to taste it?
Okay, I'll taste this one.
It's funny because I never drank this stuff until about 3 years ago, but I used to watch these Western movies, and they would always drink whiskey, you know. And when I first tried whiskey, it tastes exactly like I thought it would taste just based on watching movies, which is bizarre, but it's the truth. Well, they're both credible products. I won't hold back on that assessment. For $8.99 each, they're both a clear winner. Either way it goes, right or wrong, you're not going to go wrong if you're a person that likes to drink whiskey. And they can stand on their own without being put into a mixed drink. I wouldn't buy something like this for a mixed drink myself, but I don't drink mixed drinks. But if I did, I wouldn't buy this. I'd buy something more neutral and cheaper.
So I did some water here, and I'll try the other one.
Yeah, good idea. I'd like to know if their distillery masters could tell them apart. I'd like to see them do a blind taste challenge, but I don't think you'll ever see that occur. They do that at the lab when they're making sure this Early Times fits the profile, but they're not putting it up against other brands, to my knowledge. I went to Barton Distillery and they said, oh yeah, he tests everything, make sure it tastes right. All that business.
There is a difference.
There's a difference.
There's a difference.
When I was on the Barton Distillery tour, the Barton 17, you know, the Barton 1792, the tour guide, she said, now, see that man over there? I said, yeah. She said, he's a distillery master. He runs this distillery. She said, if he wasn't meeting with those representatives, he'd come over there and talk to us. But she said, he's busy today. They got some people coming in for something. I said, okay. Some auditors, what it was. Anyway, I thought that was impressive that the distillery master would come over there and talk to you, you know. Well, this is going to be a tough job. Yikes. One has more sweetness and one has more wood.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I think I'm liking the one that I didn't think I would like. If I'm right. So
yeah.
I'll take one more.
I'll tell you one thing, if I have a sore throat, I know what to use to make a hot toddy this winter time coming up. I think either one would be mighty fine. You know, the thing that gets to me more than anything on this hangout here, they're pretty complex for being less than $9 a bottle. And I'm not touting them for any particular reason. I find that's the case. They got a lot of character. Yep.
This one's sweeter.
Yeah. When it comes down to making the guess, I'll let you go first because you're the guest.
Okay.
And because I'm scared. That's my excuse.
Okay. This one to me is sweeter and it has a little less of the barrel influence.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say this is Early Times.
So you're saying it? You think it's sweeter because it's not been in the barrel? It's been in the barrel 12 months less.
This is the one I tasted second.
And secondly, it's in a used barrel.
I did first one, then I did second, then the second round. So this is the one I just tasted.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying this one is Early Times.
But before you do the reveal, I'm saying because two factors. It's a year less in the barrel, and it's in a used barrel. Also, before we do the reveal, in my opinion, and I'm blabbing my mouth, but in my opinion, I don't think the difference is extraordinary. That's just the way I feel about it. It's different, but it's not greatly different, or like I say in a lot of my videos, appreciably different, although it's different. I don't know how you feel about it.
But when I tried the first one, it was more oaky.
Yeah.
and not knowing till I tried the second one that it would have less flavor. So that, you know, so that's why I'm saying that I think this one is the early times.
Because of the sweetness.
Right, the sweetness and a little less of a barrel wood oaky influence.
Less wood. One thing before you do the reveal, it is sort of impressive that they're doing a private label and it's coming out so nice, huh? For
$8.99, I mean you can get your aspirin and your whiskey at the same location, CVS. So
I mean, you know, the general opinion is that if it's a private label, it's going to be ghastly, right?
Unless you do it a little bit, just a dab of research, and you realize that the private labels are maybe the same companies as make the well-known brand. I mean, it goes back to the Vienna sausage. What that's P4247 is on the bottom of every can.
4247.
47.
Fort Madison, Iowa.
Right, it is. And so, you know, it doesn't take too much Sherlock Holmes investigating to discover that it's often the same product, or maybe slight variations to, you know, fit a specific need, but it's not a night and day difference, and you're not getting an inferior quality product because it just doesn't have a name brand on it.
Right. That's if you get the Armor Vienna sausage, it's P4247, and if you get the Great Value, which is Walmart, it's 4247. And I have a hard time believing that they would stop production and say, okay, now we're doing the Great Value.
Yeah, this is Vienna sausage after all.
I think they're just saying, okay, at this point now we start using the Great Value labels. And
there's a brand called Value Time.
Ah, right.
I checked it, P4247. Every one I've ever tried, and I've 5 or 6 different brands. Because usually when I ride off somewhere on my motorcycle, I'll stop at a grocery store or somewhere, just, you know, check their beer selection, and I'll always walk over to the Vienna sausage and a few things. It's always that P4247. I've not seen it fail me once.
That's an establishment code, and what that means, according to the United States Department of Agriculture, every meat production facility has to have what they call an establishment code. You can look on their website and you list every single one. P means poultry, so it's predominantly poultry, but it's not exclusively poultry. And 4247 is Fort Madison, Iowa. I looked at a Google map of that satellite photo. You would not believe how large this thing is.
Yeah, that's
huge.
That P is poultry, is the mechanically separated chicken. Most people don't want to know about what that actually is, so I won't turn people's stomachs, but let's just say it's not choice cuts. We'll just say that. And
if you went on a tour, you'd never eat any more Vienna sausage.
You would not.
Nor would you go to a fried chicken restaurant.
But there are a lot of products with that. First ingredient is mechanically separated chicken.
Right. But it's the same point we're making, that just because it's private label is not an automatic indication that it's garbage. Could be, but not automatically. And like these Julian codes, those will tip off a lot of times where it's coming from.
Right. Yeah.
Well, oh yeah, this thing's got a lot more wood. Well, go ahead, I guess, and pull the curtain back. What do you think? You think it's early times, huh?
I think this one's early time based on the little extra sweetness in the flavor profile and a little less of the wood influence. So it's early times.
Oh, now I got the onus was on me.
Let me double check it. That's it.
Oh boy, I feel like ELO now. I'm about to face the music. I have that album, by the way, first printing LP, I might add.
I feel like I just kicked the field goal, hit the upright, and went through. Right. It could have gone either way, but it bounced through.
No, but you didn't just, you did give some taste description, so you didn't base it on just a coin flip. I think the one I keep sipping on my right might be your left. but my right, it has too much wood to be early times. And my recollection, and that you have to remember those can be faulty, but my recollection is that the Jethro T boots did have a woody note, char, that would indicate it probably was there 4 years in the barrel. So I'm going to call this Jethro T boots. And I've got a lot left, so I can do a lot more taste challenges, which some people are happy about and other people are saying, oh, no, please. How many more taste challenges are you going to do? I'll promise I will not do more than 2,000. And I'm going to keep that promise. Well, I feel better now. It is Jethro T boots. I put JTB on that label, JTB. Now, I could be lying, but like I said, you'd be a maniac to lie. And then early times. So early times, and I don't think we're doing a quality comparison. We're doing a taste challenge. I'd be just as happy to buy the early times as I would Jethro T boots. But if it's $8.99 each, I'm buying the Jethro T boots. And that's the way I feel about it. Same price, I'm going to go with the one that's got a little more.
Going into it, I would have thought that the one with the more wood influence also would be the one with the more flavor.
Not necessarily.
So, you know, maybe that's the novice in me thinking. But then when I drank the second one, I said, well, this actually, I think, has more flavor than the other one. That sort of created a dividing line. And that really helped me to decide between the two.
Because of that sweetness.
Right. That there was something distinctive about each one that helped me differentiate between the two.
Now, okay. All right, we got it right. Like you could say it's dumb luck. It could be. No one's ruling that out. But we didn't flip a coin either. We did talk about the taste attributes. You know, it's making me even more curious. You see, you get into this rabbit hole, you get sucked into it, and then you can't get out of it. That's the scary part, because right there, right over there is Winn-Dixie, and they've got their own brand of bourbon. Guess who makes it?
Sazerac.
Yeah, the Founders Company.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look on the Tax and Trade Bureau, it says the Founders Company is a what they call a what do they call it? They call it a assumed name for the Sazerac Company. Now I can go right there next to Winn-Dixie, right across, just get through the red light and go to across 31 Louisiana Highway 3188. Go to Walmart, go into their liquor department, which, by the way, in Louisiana, their liquor department is like their box cereal department. You just go on the shelf and pull out what you want, like shopping for children's cereal. It's not like a liquor control board, you know what I mean? But I can go in there and get the Founders. They call it the Founders Company. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's the producer. They call it Caliber. Walmart sells a whole array of any kind of liquor you want to, Scotch, Canadian blended whiskey, bourbon, anything. And they call it Caliber. But if you look carefully at the label, it says the Founders Company. Same thing as Winn-Dixie, the Founders Company. So it's all Sazerac. So the point I'm trying to make is it's kind of pulling me like a magnet. Try those, see what you find. I got a feeling it's going to be similar in quality to JT Boots, wouldn't you?
It may actually be the same product.
Under a different label.
Under a different bottle label.
That would pique your interest too, wouldn't it? If you're right.
Would. Because I probably don't see them maybe making a distinction. They'll just say, okay, stop Boots, start the next. They just get a different label, they'll pour it in, and it's
kind of like that 4247.
Right. I think that's the same principle that's in play.
But the thing that's going to make me look, you know what I'm going to be looking for next time I go to Winn-Dixie or Walmart? I'm going to be looking for that age statement, right?
Yeah. The 36 months written out.
Because the viewers may not realize if a whiskey is aged less than 48 months, they must give an age statement disclosure. It's not an option. It's a requirement.
So that's what I was really surprised when the boots did not have that. I looked for that statement. I got my magnifying glass out and I said, it's not on here.
I did the same thing. I looked and looked, and I was shocked that you could go to a drugstore and get a private label bourbon that was aged 4 years.
I was skeptical. I looked that thing over one side and down the, and was it on there? So, okay. Like I said, by the deduction, it is a 4 years bourbon.
And the most ironic thing, and you figure it's a cheap store brand product, you know, the minimum requirement to be a bourbon is not 4 years. You know what it is. It's 2 years.
All right. 2
So
years.
If they were trying to go bottom of the barrel, it wouldn't be aged 4 years.
No, they're actually going twice above what they would have to.
And that's the main selling point for Jim Beam. If you watch those Mila Kunis commercials, they tout that all day long. If you watch a sports channel, ESPN or FS1, they say, we go twice as long as we're required to go with Jim Beam.
And they charge twice as much as they should.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay $13.99 for Jim Beam when I can go to CVS and get this for $8.99, let me assure you.
And that one, there's something out there called an Evan Williams Black hovering around.
Yes, it's hovering around right in my cabinet.
That's right, it is. The Beam is a tough sell for me.
Well, I've got.
Or JD, it's a tough sell too.
JD, that's 3 times as much.
Right, you're right. You're getting even up a premium level.
Now we're talking $24.99 a bottle. $24 a bottle. And what are you getting? You buying a name now. Yeah, I know. Exile on Main Street World Tour, every photo you see, they got a Jack Daniels bottle prominently displayed. I understand product placement. I think the Rolling Stones were smart, and I think Brown-Forman was smart. But that doesn't mean I'm dumb.
You don't have to buy into it. You can respect their marketing, advertising prowess, but you don't have to buy into it because, you know, my common sense tells me otherwise.
You know, Mick Jagger was a genius in a way when it came to money management, and they probably had in their contract a stipulation: every sip that Keith Richards took, every swig he took from that Jack Daniels bottle, there probably was a payout.
Well, he got rich then, knowing him.
Yeah, and there's only one beer that you'll ever see shown on that tour. One beer on that 1972 tour, and one whiskey. Well, the beer, of course, was Budweiser. There's even some famous Life magazine photos of that tour, and they've got Budweiser and Jack Daniels on that amp. So I can't criticize that, you know, because the Rolling Stones focused on revenue streams. You know, that was a big part of their approach, right?
Yeah.
And so, okay, now, yeah, I've got the Evan Williams Black Label in the cabinet. Could be months or even a year before I break it open. I've got that, and that's a 4-year age, but it's higher proof, which is interesting.
86.
Yeah, they stuck with their guns. They didn't. Heaven Hill didn't go down to the 80 proof standard, right? They stuck with 86. Now there is a green label, which I also have in that cabinet, and you probably get the green label, huh?
I can get the green label here. I haven't tried it, but it's available here.
Yeah, it's an 80 proof.
It's about $1 less for a 750, I believe.
Yeah, and I never did see an age statement on it either.
No, it's $1 less for a 375, so it might be a little bit more for the 750. But
yeah, probably $2 more, probably. Yeah. But they're not expensive, no. And that's a brand that's pretty old, right? Yeah, that's not some.
I think it's actually older than JD.
Yeah, it's not a Johnny-come-lately product.
Definitely not.
But I've never tried Evan Williams in my life. So you can imagine the magnetism every time I look in that cabinet and see those 2 bottles saying, well, here I am.
I think for many people, that's their sweet spot. They arrive at that and they say, well, you know, to get better than this, I'm going to have to spend a considerable more. I'm comfortable where I'm at with this. I can drink this for now until the cows come home.
Now, you've had Evan Williams?
Right.
You've had it?
Yes.
Oh, right. But the black label.
The black label.
Not the green. Okay. Now, you know, Evan Williams, just like all these other companies, they have a whole array of honey, red hots, you know, whatever they call it, cinnamon, all that, what I would call flim-flam stuff. Same thing with the beer world. I don't really want to get into that. I'd rather stick with the traditional. I mean, there's enough traditional stuff to keep you busy the next 40 years. You don't have to go get into the honey flavored and the. I went on that Jack Daniel's tour and they said, we have the honey flavored. I took a sip and I said, thank God I'm not doing it. And then they said the cinnamon. And the guy said, you know how we make this? I didn't know. I just sat there listening. He said, we take a bunch of Jack Daniels and we pour a whole bucket of Red Hots in them in the barrel. I said, that makes me want to put a gun to my head. So, I tried.
Information.
Yeah, I said, well, now that's something I've always wanted to do, take a bottle of whiskey and pour Red Hots in it. I took a sip and I said, okay, once was enough. I'm satisfied to never try it again. But so anyway, you know, murmur, you know, we tried it, we got it right, but the counterpoint is it was dumb luck. It was a 50-50 shot, but if you watch the playback, we did base it on taste. We didn't just flip a coin and say this or that. So, all right. So let me think for a minute. Let's see. I got to do the early times against the Old Crow, then Jim Beam, then the Jim Beam choice. And I challenge anyone watching to go find a bottle of Jim Beam choice. I got a feeling you won't succeed. Then the Jack Daniel's Old Number 7, and then Jack Daniel's Number 7. After that, well, the floor is open, and I think I could be tempted, without a whole lot of prodding, to crack open that bottle of Evan Williams Black Label or even the Green Label. I would let other people call that. You might have some ideas in a month, 3 weeks, a month.
Yeah, I still have some of my Old Crow.
Yeah, see, now the Old Crow, I went through the taste challenges, so I'm just using that as a challenger. I always give them 3 shots. Now, if they strike out 3 times, they're out.
I have one bottle I haven't opened yet. It's the it's the Heaven Hill 6-year bourbon, which is only available in Kentucky. I got that back when I made a trip in the springtime.
It's got a black label, right?
I mean, and the price point, I mean, tremendous value. The Heaven Hill products, I think, offer exceptional value.
Black label?
Mine is the white label. It's the 6-year bottled in bond.
They've got, the bottled in bond. I saw
white and green labeling.
I saw that in Kentucky, and I didn't buy it. What a mistake. Yeah. And then I was in Texas. I saw the green label, and I saw the white label, of course. We don't get much Heaven Hill here.
Yeah.
All we get here in Louisiana is the, the Kentucky whiskey, a blend. Heaven Hill Kentucky whiskey, a blend.
A blend. Many of their products aren't available outside the state of Kentucky. When I was there, I saw stuff that, I will never see around this area.
No. Yeah.
And I still have the mellow corn.
Yeah. I made a mistake there. I didn't buy it. I said, well, I'll come back and get it one day. And then I went back one day and it was gone. Yeah. The guy said, nah, people didn't buy it too much, so we dropped it. I said, oh. Ooh.
That was worth the trip for me to get that. And I only found it at the last stop of the day. I was in Ashland, Kentucky.
What was the price?
$10.99 for 1 liter bottle.
Same here. $10.99. What a mistake. Well, I'll regret it. And you could put that in the taste challenge. You get it right every time.
It's a unique product. I'm glad I got it just for the bottle alone.
You'd never get it wrong.
That's the coolest looking bottle I've ever seen.
Yeah, they got a label from 1954, which they've changed never. It's kind of like that label for you know, that smoked sausage, which is nothing more than Vienna sausage, but they you know, the one they've never changed since 1961. Got the kid with the striped shirt. What's the name of this stuff? Prairie Belt.
I've got some Prairie Belt right now.
Talk about
Beaver Cleaver is on the can. A little kid from the 50s with slick back hair, and it looks just like Theodore Cleaver.
Talk about a label that's never changed.
That is.
Mellow.
Where's Wally and Ward?
And Whitey Mondello. Prairie Belt.
Larry Mondello.
Yeah, Larry Mondello. Whitey.
He was the chubby one, and Whitey was the other guy. One of the other.
Yeah, Larry Mondello. You're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
One of the Rat Pack.
Yeah, with Peter Lawford. No, the Prairie Belt and the Mellow Corn. I don't think they ever changed the label since their inception.
But the Prairie Belt is not like the others. It looks different. The color is different. The texture
It's darker, isn't it?
It is. It actually is more. It's not actually a smoked sausage, quote unquote, but it does taste different. And after I was prompted to buy it after watching some of your tastings, and I went to Walmart and they had Prairie Belt, and I bought a can of it, and I was pleasantly surprised. It does have a more reddish appearance. The brine in it is different, and it's not the same. It's not a carbon copy of the Armour Libby house brands. So I ate Vienna sausage. That become part of my rotation of mechanically separated chicken products.
So do 100 million people across the United States every day. There's a guy that comes to this store here. He tells me he lives in some other state. He was asking me, "Where's your Prairie Belt?" I said, "Well, over here." I said, "Why do you want to know about that?" He said, "Oh, I buy a basket full of it and I take it back home. We can't get it where I live. It's so much better than Vienna sausage." I said, "You think so?" "Oh yeah." I said, "Oh, okay." And another thing about that, it's owned by Bumblebee. Bumblebee products of San Diego.
Bumblebee tuna, among other things.
Yeah, Bumblebee. That's a huge company, by the way.
One I've never been able to find Armour is the Chipotle.
We've got that. Occasionally. You found the bourbon barbecue, the bourbon?
I even found the syrup.
The maple syrup.
You can eat it for breakfast with eggs.
Maple syrup.
And grits.
Flavored.
But I've never been able to, the Chipotle is the only one I've never been able to find. The Walmart here in my town stocks the bourbon and barbecue regularly, so I can find it all and the smoked and the few others, the jalapeno and the regular and a couple other versions. The barbecue, light, et cetera, but I've never been able to find that Chipotle.
Now, from what I understand, word on the street, there's a whole array of these that you can get in Hawaii that you cannot get anywhere else. Now you go to Hawaii, it's a whole different world. Same with Spam. You go to Hawaii, Spam has a multitude of flavors that you cannot get outside of Hawaii. Because, you know, Spam is one of the top products in Hawaii. And surprisingly, in those island countries, diabetes is a very prominent sickness.
You got your Spam, then you got your Treat, which is like the Milwaukee's Best Premium. It's the value brand.
Oh, the Treat?
The Treat, the Hormel Treat.
Oh, boy.
It's priceless, and I always think about making analogies that it's the Milwaukee's Best Premium of the category. Where Budweiser would be the Spam.
The Spam, the spiced ham.
Spiced ham, which there are many flavors of it in Walmart. I've seen, you know, they've expanded the line quite a bit. They want to dominate shelf space, so they'll come out with a pepper version. They'll come out with different things with cheese in it and blah blah blah. But it's still Spam, but
yellow mustard. And I couldn't mention that this is the 50th anniversary of Spam. The 80th anniversary. What am I talking about?
Bam.
80th anniversary, 1937, spiced ham hit the market. I never have gotten a confirmation from Sazerac on the ancient age, but I know I'm right. The lady said, how do you know ancient age has been out since 1936? Because all their websites say 1946. I said, well, I've got newspaper advertisements from 1938. Now, I don't think your company went in a time machine and did reposts. She said, oh, give me all those attachments. So I gave them all the attachments. It was very clear because they said on these Life magazine advertisements, ancient age has been in the barrel since before the war began. Now you can see at the bottom of the thing, it said copyright 1943. Well, before the war began, that's December 7, 1941. So it's very clear that ancient age was on the market way before 1946. And also I did trademark research, and they said that the trademark was secured in 1936. So I know I'm right. Anyway.
You know, American involvement began in 41. You know, there's not the, but I'm sure they're probably, when they make reference, they're referring to American involvement in the war, not just when the war started.
Right. They're talking about, anytime you hear these advertisements saying since the war began, they're talking about December 41. That's the general American view of, as far as the United States, World War II started in December 1940.
Actually, started much more, you know, but anyway, that's enough.
Yeah. But it's interesting, you know, and then we'll close it out. I did contact Anheuser-Busch once. This was about 6 years ago. I could probably find those emails if I needed to prove it. I was looking on their website, and they've changed their website probably 5 times in the last 6 years. They update them, you know. But they were talking about Bud Ice. Draft beer. Okay, all it's accurate. It's a draft beer, which is odd in itself. Very strange, you know. But they were saying, yeah, we introduced Bud Ice in 1984. 84. I said, 84? So I start digging in my files. No. 94. So I contacted Anheuser-Busch. I said, why do you say 84? The lady said, oh, no, that's when it was. You can look right on the website. I said, yeah, but I've got literature that shows that that is not the case. So I documented everything. Oh, okay. I'll send it to him. So about 2 weeks later, she said, we got all your stuff. Yeah, she said, we're going to make a correction. And about a week later, that was it. Ever since then, they've said 94. So see, folks, you can change things if you want to. But I mean, I knew I was right because it's impossible. There's no way Bud Ice had been on the market since 1984. I knew that was not even close to being correct. But you know, these big companies, they hire somebody to do the website. They make mistakes, you know.
I think the Miller website is very sloppy.
Oh boy,
there are dead links. You'll click to go to site, and it's a dead link. I mean, they need. I mean, they could get a kid out of middle school, like a techno whiz, and he could do a lot better job with their website than whoever they've got on it. It's embarrassing for a company of that size to have that. It's just.
I'll be right back. Yeah, it's horrible.
Inaccuracy, dead links. I mean, it is for a major brewery like that, brewing company.
Be right back. Hold on. Well, I got so thirsty, I had to get some water. Gee whiz, you're right. I'll give you an example, and I'm going to read the comments. This has been going on for 4 years now, maybe 3 years, 4 years. You get on the Miller Genuine Draft website, it says under construction.
Yeah.
How long is it going to be? How long is it going to be under construction? For 50 years?
They're over budget.
I mean, enough's enough. But like you said, you get on MillerCore's website, click the link, nothing. And then some of the websites they have is embarrassing, like for Mickey's. That's a joke.
Mickey's.
That's a joke. That's been
How
on.
long they had that girl in there with a bikini? I mean, that's all it is.
It's been on there since 2005, probably.
There's no beer locator, no product information. There's nothing. But they will tell you the riddles for the caps.
Yeah, tell you how to break.
That's more important than the actual product itself, or where you can find it.
Tell you how to break the riddle.
And that tells a lot about their lack of investment in that product. But
yeah, and then it'll tell you, look on the Facebook site. But then half the time, that's not even functioning. So what's the purpose of looking there? But I went on so many tours at Miller, and I liked them. I'm not saying I didn't like them, okay? But if you go on a Miller tour and you compare it to Anheuser-Busch, there's no comparison.
It's like the B-side of a record.
Oh, I mean, it's Anheuser. Now, Miller is more like real world. But Anheuser-Busch, you could lick the floor and you'd never get sick. You talk about a clean facility. I mean, it's clean. Miller, not so clean. But those little things, like, they tip me off. That, you would never go to Anheuser-Busch and see stuff running out the side of a kettle down onto the floor with a puddle. You're just not going to see it. That's impossible. So Miller is more like the gritty world of beer production, probably the more realistic world. But Anheuser-Busch is a showcase, you know what I mean?
Miller's probably more representative of the industry as a whole, where Anheuser-Busch InBev is the gold standard as far as how to run the company.
Their public relations are superb, yeah.
And presenting a positive image, because we've talked a couple of times about how so far ahead the whiskey is as far as internet presence versus the beer companies.
Yeah, Busch.
The way they present their products.
Yeah, Busch is one of the few companies that really kind of are up to that whiskey level.
They have a separate app to tap into your beer, which I refer to from time to time. You
get on the MillerCore's website and then you look on Buffalo Trace or Great Bourbons. It's a shame.
Or the Sazerac, where they got the music playing. Right. You can click on separate pictures in the web page. You go to a certain section. I mean, it's almost like you're, back in that time, almost.
Yeah, it's sickening when you compare those two. And even the Miller, and we're not here to rip on Miller, some of their information is like outdated. Like you click on the website, it'll show stuff that's not even accurate. Like our beers. I'll say, what is this? This is like the old recipe. Why are they still showing this? So like you said, they need to hire a kid from a honors class in 7th grade, and he can get it all fixed up in about a day.
He would. It wouldn't take that much. But it's embarrassing, for a company that, their stature to have such a shoddy website like that.
And Pabst is pretty pathetic overall. They don't list half the beers they produce. They say our portfolio. It needs to say our partial portfolio.
Some of our portfolio, yeah.
Yeah, and then they'll have all kind of inaccuracies in it. Stuff that they'll say, they don't list it, but I can go right here and find it. It's like, you don't make it, but there it is. It's I don't understand that. Like, you're a big old company. You're not, I understand Pabst ain't rich, but come on, enough's enough.
And the thing about it is, the hidden brands are some of their better ones, you could argue. That's the thing. It's not like they're hiding trash or garbage. I just I took a trip Sunday on my motorcycle, and I got some Country Club malt liquor. I came home and drank one. I said, this is a good product.
Get on the Pabst Brewing Company website, and you'll never know that Country Club exists. It doesn't exist officially.
I can drink it on a regular basis, and I bought 6-packs of it in the past. Some of these high gravities, when I start out drinking, I'll say, this tastes pretty good. By the end of it, I say, well, now I know why I tend to go more toward the adjunct lagers.
Right.
But the Country Club is something that's, I could drink it daily. And the same with the Old Milwaukee Ice, another quality product.
But officially, it doesn't exist.
These are Jimmy Hoffa brands to them.
and that's only one example. There's a multitude of examples. For instance, double malt liquor, Colt 45. Get on there.
Another one I like.
You won't find it.
I get some whenever I get a chance.
Double malt. But don't try to find
it. It's called Colt 45 malt. Why not show the double malt?
They did for about a year. But don't try to find it now. Oh, I mean, I can show you. That's just the beginning of it. Don't even worry about Old Milwaukee Ice, because as far as Pabst is concerned, that product does not exist. I call it a hidden brand. Schaefer Light, no, there's no such thing. Unless you go to the store down here about 25 miles, you can get a whole 24 pack of it. But it doesn't exist. That's not a real product.
Stroh's Light. I've seen that.
Stroh Light. That's another one that doesn't exist. Pabst Light. Forget Pabst Light. There's no such thing unless you go to a store in Lafayette and you can get 30 pack. I mean, it's like I wrote to them. I've written emails to them over the years, and I said, "Could you give me a list of all the products you make?" And the lady said, "What, do you work for a news company?" I said, "No. I'm just trying to find out what you make." "Oh, yeah." They sent me a PDF file, 12 pages. Well, it's a lot more than what they have on the website. A lot more.
And they will send you a PDF of the beer locations for these brands they don't list.
Tell you where to find it.
I got a 13-page PDF for a Country Club double malt liquor. It was available in a lot more places than you ever would have believed. So it's
and there's still, and then I'm going to cut it off. There's still a question with Pabst. A lot of these people are dodgy, and I understand with the liquor world, you can have assumed names, aliases, all this stuff. It's legal. That's why when people go to court, they lose. They'll go to court and say, "I'm suing this company because Blue Moon's not a craft beer." Yeah, try to win that lawsuit. You're going to find out craft beer is not a legal term. But I mean, you get on these websites, it's incredible. I mean, there's stuff that, like I'm saying, it exists, but you'll never know it.
Sometimes I think Pabst has been sort of like they've had the four-leaf clover in their pocket. They've been a benefactor of so much mismanagement by some of these other beer companies. They were like the buzzard that was circling, and they came in and snatched up the carcass. I don't think it's been genius on their part. They've just been at the right place at the right time.
Oh, right.
And they survived where they are right now, but it's not because of great management or any.
Oh, no.
I'm glad they're still around because they are keeping these brands alive, the names, but they could do so much better, I think.
They're not even a real brewer. Well, maybe not.
They're a portfolio holder, and it was almost criminal the way they handled the rollout of the Old Tankard Ale. There's no way that beer shouldn't have sold.
Craziness. You know, a lot of these beers here in this room, there's a lot, they'll say Pabst Brewing Company, La Crosse, Wisconsin. Well, you know, La Crosse, Wisconsin is supposed to be City Brewing. City Brewing. That's supposed to be a different company. And then the new Schlitz malt liquor, which I just got, it says Schlitz Brewing Company, La Crosse, Wisconsin. I looked at that. I had to look at it 3 times. I said, what am I looking at? Schlitz Brewing Company, La Crosse, Wisconsin. I said, that's City Brewing. And I wrote emails to those people, and I said, is City Brewing owned by Melanie Brewing? they said, well, we have an agreement with them. But that wasn't the question I asked. So I wonder who really owns City Brewing, because City Brewing is Heilemann, the old Heilemann Brewery, owned by Schlitz. Memphis, Tennessee, the old Schlitz Brewery, owned by Pabst, Schlitz, Pabst, I mean to say. And Latrobe, remember that? The Rolling Rock, that was owned by that. And that was sold off by Anheuser-Busch to City Brewing. I don't know who City Brewing is. You can't find out anything. I'm just wondering, I've been wondering this for going on 20 years. Is it somehow still under the Pabst umbrella? Did they really, in fact, get rid of all their breweries? I don't know this. It's strange.
I know the last can I got of Schlitz malt liquor, the can code would indicate it was still a Miller Coors product, brewed at one of their facilities. But if it's listing now as Lacrosse, they may have switched over to City Brewing for their contract for the brew.
Hold on. And by the way, just to tell the audience, all we do is fool around with brands, actually, in case you're wondering. You might have noticed that over the last 7 years that the whole fixation is on brands. All right. Now this, yeah, I got it. I got it, boy.
Oh, 8.5.
Woo. I won't even discuss that, but it says the Stroh Brewery Company. Now, okay, the Stroh Brewery Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, malt liquor. Well, you know, this, we know it's in Milwaukee, and it ain't Stroh. And on the code here, it says December 25th, and it's brewery number 04.
That's Fort Worth, Texas. So it's a Miller Coors. It's brewed by Miller. It's still brewed by Miller Coors then.
Now here's the Blue Bull.
Yeah.
This one says the Stroh Brewery Company. Hey, wait a minute. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. What was I looking at that said Lacrosse? I got to check on that because I know I saw one that said Lacrosse. Oh, well, malt liquor. And now the code here is October 30th, 2017, 04. Okay, it's all, that's all Fort Worth.
The last hams I got was from Fort Worth, 04.
That's a huge facility right there on the northbound side of U.S. Highway 287 leaving Fort Worth. And I mean, when I say huge, I mean huge.
But the Pabst lawsuit against Miller goes to trial in April of 2018.
Right.
And Pabst has already won a preliminary ruling. So I'm looking for maybe a settlement.
Yeah, it'll probably be settled probably the day of the trial.
Yeah.
They'll settle it out of court.
But that's a big deal.
Said they were being screwed.
Yeah.
Because of that Eden.
Based on what I've read, I think Pabst is in a pretty good position, just speaking from a layperson who I followed this pretty closely.
Yeah, they got a good contention.
Yeah.
Well, now it's got me really confused because I know I saw something that said, oh, I know what it is. I can prove it. The new Schlitz Malt Liquor website got rebooted about 3 days ago. It's something to look at too, by the way. And that's where it says the Stroh Brewing Company, La Crosse, Wisconsin. That's where it is. I remember. And if you don't believe me, folks, look at it. You can find out yourself.
I looked at the new website the other day.
At the very bottom, it says it. And you might be able to find something where it says privacy disclosure. And at the bottom where it says terms and provisions, you might be able to find something there. I might go check that out as soon as we get off.
But Pabst brand, City Brewing did do the Old Tankard Ale, which shows that they can brew quality products.
Oh, they can certainly do it. City Brewing did Sapporo Stone Warrior. City Brewing did Guinness Blonde Lager. City Brewing did a whole bunch of stuff. They can produce anything they want to produce. They just make a lot of money, you know, rolling out garbage.
And they have 3 huge breweries in the country, so their capacity is very, very much.
Right now, I mean, if I could take my trash out of my kitchen and put it outside the street, and people give me $20 a bag for trash, I'd do it. But I don't know who would do it. Now, Fungul says, "What up, boys? Hello from Philly." Hello, Fungul. Daniel Gary said, "I'll have to see if we can get the Jethro T boots in California. If CVS Pharmacy sells liquor in your state, you can get it." Fungul says, "Mila Kahunas, haha, you're funny as hell, Jay." Daniel Gary says, "Message retracted." Uh-oh. Oh, I wish I could retract everything I've said in my life. Oh, some of the things I've said. Fungul says, "They've done a ton of Coors sponsored tours too, dude." That's what I was thinking until you said 72. Yeah. Oh, the Rolling Stones did Coors sponsored tours. Have you ever put the cash out for Johnny Walker? No. I spent $80 on a black label and it's good, but crazy money for some damn liquor, says Fungul. And Chris says, "Just have a," and then it stops. So he must have had some computer problems. Anyway, so we tested out the Jethro T boots versus early times. There was a difference. But my working theory with that is still the same. Shop price, honestly.
For these 2, yeah. I didn't really, I looked up and got it right, but I don't necessarily that I have a preference.
Yeah.
I would definitely shop price for these 2. And I could see drinking both of them.
Oh,
like whiskey at this price level, because there is enough of a difference that you're not drinking an identical product.
no.
It is subtle, but there is a difference.
But not enough of a difference to spend extra money.
Not, absolutely not.
Nope.
But
So that's the cut and dry of it. Now, in about 3 days, I plan. Don't say it's going to happen, but the intention is to do the early times versus Old Crow. Now that could be a tough one because we're talking about 2-3 year.
Yeah. I had the advantage of having a 4 versus a 3.
But boy,
and that helped me. That helped me.
When you do
3 versus 3, that would be tough.
When you do the 3 year versus 3 year, now you're asking for trouble. Of course, one is a new barrel and one is a used barrel. But I don't know if that's enough to really make a difference. But boy, it's a price difference. Old Crow's $10.99. Early times is $8.99. That's $2. I'm not paying $2 for a label. I don't pay money for names.
What's in a name?
No, a whiskey by any other name
Would be just as smell as sweet.
Still a whiskey, yeah.
Yeah.
Smell just as sweet.
But the fact that both these products are, they're competent products, I think my general consensus is that these bottom shelf whiskeys are pretty darn good for the money you're paying for them. I think they all represent a pretty good value. You're not getting ripped off or flim-flam.
Oh, you're right. And that generally is not the case with beer. Because if you get some of these bottom shelf beers like the Beer 30 and the Milwaukee's Special Reserve or the Boxer Lager or some of that stuff from Trader Joe's or Aldi, then you're really skating on thin ice.
When I was in Kentucky and got the whiskey, I picked up a can of the Milwaukee Special Reserve, 24-ounce can, and it was unique. I'll say that.
You didn't say good.
It was unique in the fizzy head, which did a vanishing act immediately. It went away quicker than the Bud Mixtail. And it's like it had a little bit of knee-high grape in it, maybe. It had some unique flavors, which you don't get with the major brewery brands. You just don't get it. And even when you get in something like a Rockdale, it has certain aspects that you don't get with a standard beer from a Miller Coors or a Budweiser.
Yeah, it's what Proof 66 website calls exotic flavors.
Yeah, a sourness a green apple. There are things in there that you just don't get, even with the budget brands of Budweiser and Miller Coors. So there is, I'd say, the bottom shelf. I think the whiskey consumer has an advantage over the beer consumer. Speaking apples to apples, so to speak.
I agree with that.
I haven't any of these that I've tried, that are sink pours or vomit inducing.
No, the worst we could say about some of those like Kentucky Dale is that they were dull.
But they'll get the job done, and if you mix them if you're prone to mixing them, they'll work fine. You don't need anything better than that.
No, and dull.
The bottom line is, it's overkill. You're just wasting your money.
Right, dull will not turn your stomach.
You're still getting 40%.
Dull will not turn your stomach, but some of those bottom shelf beers will actually turn your stomach.
When I drink that reserve, I said, "Is this actually a beer?" First, when you pour it out and the fizzy head goes, just like that, it's gone. Then you say, well, I'm tasting some grape in there. And then, well.
Then you see a beer like Pabst Blue Ribbon and Rapier gives it a 1 out of 100.
Yeah.
There's no sense to that. Even the Rockdale Light is not a 1 out of 100.
No.
Not to say that it's much above that now. But yeah, you're right. The whiskeys, the budget whiskeys, from our limited experience so far, you got a real winner on your hands at this point from what we've looked at now.
And occasionally you even find a gem like that McCormick Special Reserve. We say, whoa, I mean, is this 80-20? I mean, this is pretty darn good.
Yeah, that was a shock. I was at that hotel in Texas and I was tired, been driving all day. So I popped it open and I poured it in that plastic glass at the hotel, plastic cup. I couldn't believe it.
I still got some of that. I need to do myself a challenge between that and the Old Crower Kentucky Gentleman, something like that. I might prefer the McCormick's, actually.
Yeah, when I did the McCormick's, I thought, well, you're just tired. You're at the hotel. You got to take all that into account. You're not thinking straight. Okay, I took that into account. Okay. But I kept doing the revisits. No, it held its own. That McCormick's, that is a jewel, folks, and you will see McCormick's around. If you look, you'll see it vodka. They've got a vodka. They've got a gin. They've got of course, their blended whiskey, and they even have a little higher quality whiskey. I've seen, I've not tried it. Yeah, I was extremely shocked, really stunned by the McCormick's 80-20.
I picked it up when I bought the Mellow Corn as an afterthought, and basically after seeing the reviews you had of it. And I'm glad I did, because it lived up to its billing. I thought it was actually much better than I had anticipated it would be.
Yeah, that feeds into what you're talking about, the sleeper brands.
It's a sleeper whiskey, definitely. An 80-20 sleeper.
It'll blow Kentucky Dale out the water without any kind of concept. Yeah, I'm not here to rip on Kentucky Dale, because like you were saying, if you're going to make a Bloody Mary or a hot toddy or an old fashioned, it's fine. Pay the $6.99 and move on and go on. They don't sell it all day long because it's terrible. But if you want to get something that has actual flavor and costs 1 penny more a bottle, well, heck, get the McCormick.
Yeah, the Kentucky Dale is a baseline, but it's not rot gut.
No, not rot gut. It's not rot gut. It's not rot gut. It's a baseline, like you said.
And I'm glad I drank it, because it was sort of a starter. To know, so you know what one parameter is. You begin to climb the ladder, so to speak.
And you can build.
Yeah. I'm glad I tried it.
Yeah, I'm very happy I bought it. And it's very similar to that Heaven Hill Kentucky whiskey, a blend. Same type thing. All right, well, it'll probably be sooner than later when we'll tackle that Evan Williams. I think we need to go ahead and throw caution to the wind before too long and start dealing with that Evan Williams. What do you think?
I'm sure you can have a field day with Evan Williams. Evan Williams versus ... I mean, there's so many that you can pair it against, because it is, I think it is the standard, the reference standard for a value bourbon.
And I've never had it. People say, you're crazy. You know you've had Evan Williams. I said, not in this lifetime. Nope. I've seen it. Never tried it.
In every product line, there are those items that the sum is greater than the individual parts. And I think they just hit it right with this Evan Williams. You know, there's a general statement: you get what you pay. You get what you pay for. Generally speaking, that is true. But there are those products that just crop up, and they do punch above their weight and offer more value than you would expect in every product you can think of. And this, I think, the Evan Williams happens to be one that really hits the spot in that regard.
Like King Vitamin cereal. Let's see. I
would love to find some King Vitamin.
King Vitamin. JTLBZ says, which one do you prefer, Captain Morgan versus Lady Bly? Thanks. Honestly, JTBLZ, I've never tried rum in my life. So I'm sure if you gave me Captain Morgan or that lady, I wouldn't tell them apart. I don't know rum from cough syrup. I've never tried rum. I'm not opposed to it. I've never tried it. And that's an honest statement. People ask me, what kind of marijuana do you prefer? I've never tried marijuana. I cannot comment on it. And I've never tried rum, and I've never tried tequila. I've just never tried it. Not to say I wouldn't try tequila or rum. Notice I didn't mention the third item. Not going to go there. But I will at some point. Let's see, it's 2017. So let's say check back with me in 2029. I might look at rum.
I do have a mini of rum, a black rum I picked up in Kentucky.
No, I'm not getting sucked into that. If you look in this liquor cabinet, you're going to say, oh, yeah.
I can drink the rum. I actually just about forgot about it. It was in a box I keep the whiskeys in, but it's still in there.
Yeah.
It has a unique sort of it almost looks like a kettle-shaped little mini bottle. That's the reason I bought it. It was up at the cash. It's one of these impulse items they put at the cash register.
Yeah.
I just grabbed it up.
I get asked about rum at least once a week. People, and I'm not making fun of people. People ask me, what do you think about Captain Morgan? And that's a common one they ask me. Captain Morgan or the other rums? I say, look, I've never tried them. I'm sorry. I know rum is a big deal. If I wanted to just score points for my channel, right? Like if my goal was to bring in views, right? What would I start doing within the next 3 or 4 days? I'd start doing rum, right? Vodka. I mean, I'd do rum and vodka. I could get a lot of views. I'd make more money. But I got to focus on. I got to focus on the things at hand. I mean, I was doing brandy. Every time I do brandy, I probably lose subscribers. People say, brandy, that stupid ass. But I still do the videos, you know.
I know more about Captain Beefheart than I do Captain Morgan. So that's off my scale.
Captain Beefheart, yeah. But anyway, you know, so it's not about getting views. It's not about getting subs, getting likes, getting dislikes. It's about just the hobby, working the hobby. And that's the truth. That's the honest truth. See back there? That's the focus. That's the focus.
I see Lone Star.
Yeah, that actually was sent to me by the company.
Okay.
That's when I made a video that was incorrect. And within 3 or 4 hours, now this does tell me that people watch the videos, because I made a video and then in like 3 hours, I got an email from Pabst Brewing Company. What are you talking about? I said, I'm about to get sued by Pabst. The lady said, how dare you, basically, how dare you say the Lone Star was discontinued? Are you crazy? I said, well, that's what somebody told me. She said, he's wrong. He's wrong. I said, well, I hurried up and I deleted the video and I made a follow-up. she said, but anyway, I noticed that you are using an older bottle of Lone Star. She said, how about if I send you an updated bottle of Lone Star and Lone Star Light, and you can make some new videos? I said, I'll go along with that. So in about 5 days, I got this big package from San Antonio, Texas, and they sent me all those stickers and the glasses and the beer and no lawsuit. But that was a case of listening to what somebody said without checking. You always got to check your sources. See, he got confused. Lone Star Bach got discontinued. And he told me, did you hear that Lone Star got discontinued? Oh, what a mistake. It was Lone Star Bach, not Lone Star. Lone Star's still around, people.
Always verify with 2 sources.
Always.
I learned that very early on. But
that was a very scary day. But anyway, it worked out all right. All right, William, thanks for joining me. This was fascinating. And well, that's it, folks. If you could stand it. you might say, now some people might say, I'd rather listen to Metal Machine music than watch another one of your hang-ups. I understand that. But I wouldn't want to listen to Metal Machine music. All right. Take care.